Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. So, the topic which we have selected for our study for these 2 days is Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati, which means everything is dear for the sake of the self. All that we love in life is not because of itself, but because we love the self. This is a very famous statement taken from BrhadaranyakaUpanishad. And in BrhadaranyakaUpanishad also, chapter 2, section number 4, and 5th passage to be precise. See, there are all the Upanishads are important, and all the mantras and statements of the Upanishads are equally important. But there are always some statements, some mantra, which are very profound, very pithy, that they compel us to make a note of them, to underline them, to highlight them, and ponder over them again and again. This is one such statement which reveals a very important aspect about the self, the Atma, and also throws a very important life about certain facts of our life. As I said, if those of you who cannot clearly see, you can always come. There are some benches over here in front if you want to sit, so that you can see me clearly. And I also can see you clearly, because I need to have that eye contact with, so that I can see. As I said, this statement is taken from BrhadaranyakaUpanishad. BrhadaranyakaUpanishad You must have heard about this Upanishad. It is one of the most important Upanishads. It is found in Shukla Yajurveda. See, we have 4 Vedas, and all the 4 Vedas, there are Upanishads. And Shukla Yajurveda has this Upanishad. By the way, even Ishavasya Upanishad is found in this Veda. Shukla Yajurveda has 2 recensions, that is 2 branches. I'm just giving you the general idea of the Upanishad from which this statement is taken. The 2 branches of Shukla Yajurveda are Kanva and Madhyandini. But we are going to study Kanva branch because Sri Shankaracharya ji has commented upon this branch. Upanishad belonging to this branch, Kanva Shakha. And according to Bhashyakara, also, this Upanishad is very, very important because it covers all the important principles of Vedanta. All of them are covered here. And the format of this Upanishad is that it has 8 chapters. Out of the 8 chapters, the first 2 chapters are not commented upon by Sri Shankaracharya ji because they primarily talk about Karma Kanda. But the rest of the 6 chapters are commented upon by Bhashyakara. And out of the 6 chapters, the first 2 chapters are called Madhu Kanda, and the statement comes from there. The first 2 chapters are called Madhu Kanda. The next 2 chapters are called Muni Kanda or Yajnavalkya Kanda. And the rest of the 2 chapters are called Khila Kanda. The first 2 chapters of the Madhu Kanda are primarily devoted to teaching, that is Shravanam. The rest 2 chapters are devoted to reasoning, Tarka. And the last 2 chapters devoted to Upasana of Saguna Brahma. And the format here is, as I said, there are chapters. In the chapters, there are sections called Brahmana. In the sections, again, there are passages called Kandika. Now, this Upanishad, the importance of this Upanishad can be gauged from the fact that Sri Shankaracharya ji has not only commented upon it, but he has poured his heart in the commentary of this Upanishad. He has given lot of time for writing the Bhashya of this Upanishad. And his foremost student, called Sri Sureshwaracharya ji, he has also commented upon the Bhashya, upon the commentary written by Sri Shankaracharya ji. Sri Sureshwaracharya ji has written a Vartika. Vartika means it is a critic upon the Bhashya of Sri Shankaracharya ji. And in this critic, he has written 12,000 verses, not less than 12,000 verses. Again, upon this critic, there is a Vartika Sara written by Vidyaranya Swami. You must have heard about him. He is the author of the famous text called Panchadashi, Jivan Mukti Viveka, etc. He has written Vartika Sara upon this, which is equally big. And again, there is a very famous Tikakara called Anand Giriji. he has commented upon both the Bhashya of Sri Shankaracharya ji as well as Vartika. So, from this we can ascertain the importance this Upanishad enjoys. It is one of the 10 Upanishads upon which Bhashyakara has commented. And as I said, this statement is taken from 2nd chapter. Already in the 1st chapter, Upanishad has emphasized upon the importance of gaining the knowledge of the self. See, whenever this statement we have taken, but it is an independent topic by itself, but we should always know from context as to in which context or reference this statement occurs in the Upanishad, where and how it occurs, and in what way there is connection between the 1st and the 2nd chapter. Only when we know this, then the context will be established in our minds. So, in the 1st chapter, as I said, the importance of Brahma Vidya has been established. There is a very, in the 1st chapter, in the 4th section, and in the 7th mantra, 147, it has been shown that the self that is obtaining here, the self, the Atma which obtains here in this body, is nothing but Brahman. It is nothing but all full and complete self. But since we do not know this, we take itself to be the body, the mind, intellect, and all the functions which are done by the body, etc., are superimposed upon the self. And we take ourselves to be walker, talker, speaker, doer, enjoyer, plus father, mother, husband, wife, so on and so forth. See, in reality, this which we look upon as one, in fact, there are two over here. This which we call as one, I, which today we know the I as, in fact, there are two here. One is the object of my knowledge, that is the body, mind, sense complex, this costume, and the other one is the indweller of this costume. There is difference between the two. One is the object, other one is the subject. But not knowing this difference, we combine. We lump this together. In reality, there are two here, Atma as well as Anatma. The body, etc., the body, mind, intellect, vital air, sense organs, both of knowledge as well as action, falls in the category of Anatma. They are non-self, and I is the self. But not knowing this, we, as I said, lump them together. And we identify with this non-self. The complex called non-self, body, mind, intellect complex. We identify with it and consider ourselves as confined to this body. And I judge myself, brand myself as nothing but this body. See, we are only that much as our perception is. At any moment, we are only that much as what our perception or understanding is. If I take myself to be body, the person, the personality, then I am only that much. In reality, when I am the all-pervading, one and only self, which is free from all the attributes, all limitations, not bound by space, time, objectivity, in spite of this being the reality, what happens? Today, I become as much as this complex is. That is why, in the first chapter, in the 7th passage, Upanishad says that may you know yourself as Atma. Atma iti eva upasita. This is a famous statement. It is called Vidya Sutra. This occurs in the first chapter and in the 4th Brahmana, 7th passage. The whole Upanishad, the whole of BrhadaranyakaUpanishad is exposition upon this sutra. What? Atma iti eva. It's not given in your handout, but I'm just trying to establish the context, because we should always know what has gone before to be able to understand what is coming. What is coming is connected, and it is in answer to what has gone by. What has gone by has created a need, and what is coming is in reply to that need. So we must know that. It is not given here, but don't worry, I will explain to you. I am going to talk about that. So Upanishad says, Atma iti eva upasita. May you know yourself as Atma. Actually, the word that is used there is Atma iti eva upasita. May you meditate yourself as Atma. There it is, the meaning is not meditation, but it is what? May you know yourself as Atma, and not as speaker, talker, walker, knower. Because when eyes are seeing, I immediately think of myself as what? Call myself or brand myself as seer. When the mind is thinking, immediately there is this identification that I am thinker, writer, whereas all of them are nothing but the roles. All of them are nothing but different costumes. Just as an actor plays different roles. He plays the role of a beggar now, then the role of a king, then the role of a teacher. But actor, even though he plays those roles, is not really a beggar or a king or a teacher. He is different from them. They are merely things which apply to the roles. It is something, what? Incidental. The roles come and go. Who is inherent? The actor is inherent. Similarly, Upanishad says that when I am breathing, I think that I am a breather. I think that I am a speaker. Pranan neva prananamo bhavati vadan vak. When the these words are coming out, I think I am a speaker. Pashyan chakshuhu. When the eyes are seeing, I think that I am a seer. There, of course, that seeing is taking place, but the reality is that it is because of the self, because of Atma, the consciousness, that the speech or the eyes are able to speak and see. Atma is not speaking. Atma, the self, is not seeing. Atma is not a seer, neither a doer, nor an enjoyer. But at the same time, without the self being there, the eyes cannot see. Then what is that Atma? It is Shrotrasya Shrotram. It is the ear of the ear. It is the speech of the speech. So, in reality, without the presence of the self, these functions are not possible, and yet we cannot say that Atma is doing them. So how should we know the self? Upanishad says, Atma iti eva upasita. May you know yourself as merely the self, which pervades all the functions, but in reality is beyond those functions. Without the actor, the roles cannot be. But the actor is not the roles. B is A. Beggar is actor. But actor in reality is not the beggar. So Upanishad here in that passage emphasizes, gives us this sutra, gives us this aphorism. What? Atma iti eva upasita. May you always, all the time, know yourself as Atma. And whatever other things get attached to the self, may you do viveka and remove them. When I say that there is this particular desire or a thought in the mind, then that thought is something that is seen. And in the presence of the self, the thought is illumined. But we, not being aware of that, we identify with that, and what do we say? I am the thinker. I am seeing this. So all the time, we have to keep on all the time separating the self from the non-self. These two always come together. See, we are not able to perceive or understand or appreciate the self as it is at the moment. It is always along with the costume. It is always along with all this. Something or the other is always attached. And so there is this need that may you not brand yourself, judge yourself by the upadhi, by the costume. But even when the upadhi is, even when you are functioning, then separate in the mind, carry out this viveka and know yourself as Atma. This is what the Upanishad says. And the whole of this Upanishad is built around this one sentence, Atma iti eva upasita. May you always carry out this meditation. Means may you always know this. Because Atma should be known as it is. When we don't know ourselves as we are, then our life will be built upon wrong foundation. When we look upon ourselves as woman, husband, wife, man, etc., if we think that we are really that, then what will happen? We don't know ourselves correctly. And there cannot be any satisfaction, any real, we cannot get anything worthwhile when our life is based upon a wrong foundation. So Upanishad makes this very clear in that passage. And then says, why should you know yourself as you are? There are many other things to do. Why should I always contemplate upon this? So Upanishad makes another statement. Why? Because Atma is something which is most dearest. Then there is a passage where it is said that Kutascha Atma Tattvameva Gneyam Anadritya Anyad. Why should I know myself in this manner, not respecting other things? Then it is said in the Upanishad, the next passage says, Tadetat preyaha putrat, preyaha vittat, preyaha anyasmat sarvasmat. It is said that because the Atma is something which is most dearest in our life, dearer than even putra, dearer than even son, dearer than even wealth and security and everything. Preyaha anyasmat sarvasmat. it is the most dearest. There is nothing more dear to us than the self. See, this comes in the first chapter. Then, of course, it will be developed in the statement which we have taken. But the seeds are sown in the very first chapter. That our entire life revolves around I. Whatever we do is because we are important to our own selves. I is the supreme in our life. And therefore, it becomes imperative that we know ourselves correctly. And then comes the famous Mahavakya, which occurs in this Upanishad, which is that Aham Brahmasmi. Who am I? I am nothing but Brahma. And the importance of this knowledge is that when I know myself as Brahman, Brahman means what? Which pervades everything, which encompasses everything, which is bigger than the biggest. Bruhatvad Brahma. Then the Upanishad says that when I came to know that I am Brahman, then Tasmat Tat Sarvam Abhavat. When the Jiva when he came to know that he is Brahman, from the teacher, of course, that is something that we have to read in between the lines, because this knowledge cannot happen on its own. It will not happen that suddenly, all of a sudden, it will strike to me that I am not this individual, but I am Atma. It won't happen on its own. So it is understood that you have approached a teacher, and from that you have come to know the reality about yourself. And what does the knowledge do? The result is shown. Tasmat Tat Sarvam Abhavat. Moment he came to know that he is Brahman, he became everything. Became means what? Did he enlarge himself? No. He was already everything. He was already everything. But this was denied to him because of ignorance. What is becoming everything? Becoming everything doesn't mean that you now become. It was an obtaining fact all along. Atma is already all-pervasive. There is nothing in this creation where Atma is not. Everything, in and through everything, the consciousness, the Sat, the Chit, the Ananda is. But since we do not know, we are deprived of this knowledge, this obtaining fact. So Upanishad says that when he came to know this, that I am Brahman, he became everything. Doesn't stop here, but narrates the experience of a wise man. See, in Shruti, you find even many a times Upanishads give us the Anubhava. Here also, in the beginning, after having said that when he came to know he is Brahman, he became everything, then the experience of a famous sage, Vamadeva, is quoted. There was this famous sage called Vamadeva. He came to know this reality in the womb of the mother. See, there are some exceptions. Everybody cannot come to know this in this manner. But this sage was exceptional. Because of his samskaras of Brahma Vidya in past birth, for some or the other obstacles, he could not own up this knowledge in that life. But now those obstacles are gone. Where? He had to come in the womb of the mother, but there itself all his actions and past impressions are gone. And there itself he comes to know what? I am Brahman. I am Brahman. And then what does he say? He reports that Aham Manuhu, Aham Suryascha, I am the sun. I am the sage called Manu. I am everything. See, he is in the womb of the mother. That sage from the womb of the mother is declaring this, that I am everything. Pashyan, he is seeing this, means he knows this and he reports. So what does it say? Again, the intention behind saying this is that this is the result of knowledge. What is the result of knowledge? That I become everything. I no more identify with this one given complex. See, it is very important. When you are not identified with the individual body, then only you can say that you are everything. If your I notion is established or placed in this one complex, this one body, then you cannot say that I am everything. But when you say I am everything, you know that you are the self. You are that reality which pervades, which is immanent in the creation. Everything is woven in you. Whether it is animate or inanimate thing, whether it is big or small, everything is nothing but you. Sarvam khalu idam Brahma. With this knowledge, your perception entirely changes. So far, you were a hapless person, creature. I'm just this much. And suffered from so many complexes. And now, just with knowledge, you are freed from all this once and for all. So in this manner, Upanishad shows what is the result of this knowledge. Brahma Vidya, or this knowledge, gives you freedom. Freedom which is your birthright. Freedom which really belongs to you. Upanishad doesn't stop here. Then, after this, it also shows what happens when you don't know this. Both ways it is shown. As I said, in that statement, Atma iti eva upasita, it is called Vidya Sutra. Then, now, Upanishad proceeds to show what happens, what are the consequences of ignorance. Which means when you don't know that you are the self, then also what happens? Then it is said that in the absence of this knowledge, you take yourself to be this limited body and look upon others also as different from you. A division is automatically created. There is duality between you and others and the world and Ishvara. In spite of there being nothing but non-duality, now you live in duality. You take everything to be different. Everything is different. And moment the duality is there, it is said, Dvitiya dvai bhayam bhavati. Duality creates fear. The slightest of duality, udaramantarang kurute atatasya bhayam bhavati. When we look upon ourselves as different from others, what they have, I do not have. What they are, I am not. And everything in this creation is different. Everything is different. So, moment I see something is different from me, I feel isolated. I feel limited by it. And this limitations not being innate to me, not being a reality, I cannot stand it. See, the irony is, I cannot stand it. I cannot stand duality. I cannot accept limitations, but still I take myself to be limited. This is what ignorance does. This Upanishad goes to the extent of saying that even when Ishvara, different devatas, are looked upon as different from you, then what happens? Athayo anyam devatam upasate anyahoham Ishvara is different, anyaha, and I am anya, I am also different. Then what happens, In a very typical manner, in a very peculiar manner, the duality is described here. That you are controlled even by Ishvara. You are controlled even by different devatas. This is the manner in which here duality is described. That when you look upon Ishvara as different from you, and you are limited, moment you look upon yourself as limited, you become needy. You become needy. There are so many desires, and mainly the desire for love, for security. All this automatically arises inside. And moment I am needy, my hand is stretched out to the world, to different people. I want something from them. Because I am nothing in my perception. I am limited in different ways. Then I look upon Ishwar also as someone who will fulfill my needs. I have many of them, and Ishvara has many powers. There are different deities, different devatas, having different powers, and according to my need, I propitiate, I worship those devatas to fulfill my needs. Understand? This relationship is one of what? I am needy, I desire, and Ishvara has the power to fulfill my needs. Now here in this Upanishad, it is shown that when you think like that, then what happens? You become like a cattle in the hands of Ishvara. That is what it is given here. That just as in the olden days, cattle was looked upon as wealth in the olden days, Vedic times. That was the wealth, your cow and so many other things which you have. Just as when even a single animal is lost, then we cannot stand it. We feel that loss. Why? Because our livelihood has gone. Once that animal is lost, then our security is lost. Similarly, I am like a pashu. When I look upon Ishvara as different from me, and I have several needs, which I think Ishvara will fulfill. Ishvara means different deities will fulfill. My situation is similar to that pashu which has been lost. When a person loses a single animal or something, and the loss that he feels is compared here to what? The Atma, or the person looking upon Ishvara as different. And so Ishvara then controls, different deities then control you. Because they also don't want to lose you. Why? They sustain upon me. Just as that cattle or that animal does he is useful to me. Similarly, I become useful to different devatas. And that is why when when this duality is there, I become that helpless. So in this manner, the duality is explained in this Upanishad. In short, it shows us the consequences which will happen when duality is taken to be real. So both the things are shown. The result of knowledge and what you gain by that, as well as what you lose by not knowing the self. This is already shown. After having done this, then Upanishad proceeds. This is all going on in the first chapter. Then it describes the samsara. Then the samsara is described. And what all we can achieve in this samsara has been shown. Precisely to make the point that no matter what you achieve in this creation is going to be limited. Why? Because this entire creation is limited. Limitation is built in the creation. And if I seek fulfillment from the creation, from the objects of the world, by achieving different things, by accomplishing different goals, then I am going to remain limited. Because this creation doesn't have that which I am seeking. My desire, my craving is for limitlessness, for infinite, and the creation doesn't have it. Creation just does not have it. So, my attempt, all my attempts to satisfy myself, to seek that limitlessness from the creation are bound to fail. This has been shown in the first chapter. No matter what you get, and the limit is Brahmaloka. The limit of, the highest achievement which is shown is Brahmaloka. Of course, for us, Brahmaloka today is not important, but these other things may be important to us today. But Upanishad says that no matter what you get, what is limited remains limited. Limited cannot ever give you limitlessness. Even the addition of limited is going to be limited only. And sooner or later, you are going to get tired of it and again look for something better. Samsara is a trap like this. The entire creation is of this nature. And so, if we examine our life, if we examine our different experiences, beginning from childhood up to this point, very minutely, then we will come to know that we have that satisfaction, that adequacy has evaded us. And if that is the situation, then if I think in this manner, see, we don't wait in life, we don't take a pause in life and take stock of life. If we do that, then as Mundak Upanishad says, Parikshya lokan karmachidan brahmanaha nirvedamayat. If you examine your life in this manner, take stock of it, see what all you have gained and at what cost. You may have gained something, but at what cost? So much of time, so much of energy, so much is given, and what you get is very little, and that too, either you lose interest in that or it goes away. So the net profit is that at the end of it you are a loser. So when we think like this, this is called viveka. This is called viveka. When one thinks in this kind of thinking, this kind of deliberation is required. And it is precisely for this reason that Upanishad in the first chapter does this. So that at the end of it, a person develops vairagya. Vairagya doesn't mean aversion, doesn't mean hatred, doesn't mean disgust. Vairagya doesn't mean that. It means healthy understanding. Healthy understanding of things as they are. Not more, not less. Judge or understand a thing as it is. We give too much of importance to that, and it doesn't have that. We have given so much in our ignorance, we gave so much importance to the world, objects of the world, situations, places, people, relationships, which it doesn't have. It is not their fault that they are what they are. That is how it is. That is the nature of anatma. That is the nature of non-self. And the entire creation falls in that category. Atma is different. We cannot expect an inert thing to satisfy our needs. First of all, Atma has there need not be any needs in that, because it is already full. So, Upanishad here wants us to think in this manner. And that is why all this is described in the first chapter. As a result of this, there is dispassion or vairagya in the mind of this thinking, deliberating person. And now, he desires to give it up. Not giving up out of disgust, out of aversion, but if what I am looking for is not out there, then where is it? If all my life I have employed action to get things which I thought I do not have, karma is a means, for apraptasya praptihi. I have used the action, karma. For what? For fulfilling or getting things which I do not have. But they did not satisfy me. So now we come to know that karma cannot give me what my heart really craves for. And therefore, now he wants to give up everything and look for what? Look for that which is the absolute source of satisfaction or adequacy. As we chant this mantra, na karmana, na prajaya, dhanena, tyage naike amrutatvam anushuhu. It is not by karma, not by dhana, not by progeny that one gains immortality. Because all these are limited means. See, this creation, according to the Upanishad, they describe here as made of different lokas, mainly bhuhu, bhuvaha, suvaha. Means this loka, this realm, the intermediate realm, and the realms above, superior ones. Every Upanishad has its own manner of describing. It is said here, that it is said in the Upanishad that by son, putra, you get this world. By karma, by action, you gain the Pitruloka, the intermediate worlds. And by vidya it means meditation. Meditation upon Saguna Brahma. You get the other worlds. But now the desire of this person is what? I want to know the self. I want to know that which is really happiness, adequacy. And if by these means, putra, karma, vitta, I am not going to get this, then of what use are they to me? So he gives them up. And he's not, according to him, he's not giving up anything important. See, when we look up, when we are peeling the vegetables, etc., we throw away the skin. Why? Because it's not important. It doesn't serve my purpose, so I throw it away. Similarly, there is no aversion for the creation or samsara, but it has no use for me. We can give up something only when we catch something higher. The inferior can be given up, not unless I have some inkling, some glimpse, some desire for something higher. So, now Upanishad talks about a person. Now the statement which will be studying is implying that there is sannyasa. Now what we are going to read, this statement which we have chosen, is uttered by the famous sage Yajnavalkya. And he tells this to his wife Maitreyi. And by that, Upanishad is hinting at sannyasa. Because we will be seeing that here Yajnavalkya is implying sannyasa by that. Why? Because there is that strong desire to know the source of immortality, which is not found in the world outside. And then there comes a time in life when you just give up. Give up in the search of your goal. Lord Krishna also says, Arurukshoho munehe yogam karanamuchyate. Yoga rudasya tasyeva shamaha karanamuchyate. So far, action was the means. But now, see, action also are performed in two different ways. When you are seeking fulfillment from the things outside, then you employ the action as a means for getting them. But there is another use of action also. Action can be used also as a means to purify yourself, which is nothing but karma yoga. Karma not employed to acquire something, karma not for self-gratification, but for self-elevation. That is a different kind of karma. Karma done with an attitude of offering becomes karma yoga. That is a different action altogether. But when karma is employed as a means to acquire, as a means to fulfill yourself, that karma is given up. Now, this person, if at all he is active in the world, it is in the attitude of what? Karma yoga. He offers his action to the creation. He performs his roles, whatever they may be, but in the spirit of offering. And what does this do? This purifies his heart. This neutralizes all the likes and dislikes, and he becomes pure. This person has reached this stage, and now there is a time when he is ready to give up everything and pursue the knowledge of the self at the exclusion of everything, because his mind is already the mind which is required for the knowledge of the self is what? Which is vairagya, which is dispassion. Unless my mind is held captive by likes and dislikes, kama, krodha, lobha, desire for objects, until then my mind is not ready for the knowledge of the self. Till then, he cannot pursue this knowledge with focus. Because likes and dislikes will not allow him. Like raga will pull his mind one way, dvesha will pull his mind other way. All of them, the objects of likes and dislikes, mind is preoccupied with them. Where is the place for Brahma Vidya in such a mind? The deliberation upon the self is not possible. But now, his mind is free from all this. Why? Because a higher desire is there in his mind. What? To know the self, to abide in that. And such a person is eligible to give up everything and focus his mind upon the knowledge of the self. Now he is available. Now he is ready for Shravanam, Mananam. Even otherwise, as a Karma Yogi also, he can carry out Shravanam, Mananam, etc. But now, only that, only Shravanam, only Mananam can be done. So, before beginning this chapter, Bhashyakara makes it very clear. He says that when Yajnavalkya calls his wife and tells him that now I am going to go, this is shown in the Upanishad as a preparation for sannyasa. That sannyasa is implied. Renunciation is implied here. So from the next class, we will go to the topic proper and see what it means. This is what has gone by in the first chapter. What has gone by? The importance of Brahma Vidya is shown. Plus, what is the result of the Brahma Vidya? That is also shown. At the same time, what you lose by not knowing, that is also shown. Samsara is shown. All this was to prepare, to make a person understand. And now, having done that, the person is ready. And so, he is ready for what is to come. So, we'll be doing that in the next class. Om Purnamatav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyaptatehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Next class will be at 11.